Anne Phillips on. She'd be cool.
Goat.
Anyone? Man, she's amazing. She was young. Like, she used to play... She played in the men's, like, as a junior footy. Like,
Yeah.
Smosh, West Lakes, yeah. Crazy. Her and old man, he was an old Port Adelaide footy player as well. Like, he was a gun footy player.
She is like the most talented.
Strength and power.
Like, insane.
Here's a photo of her from the weekend. Holy shit.
Shit.
Amazing,
Beast
right?
mode.
Beast mode.
Like, beast mode activated.
Man,
Far
it's
out.
crazy. That's what, like, another thing for, like, anyone, any female who wants to, like, do really well or, like, actually compete at any type of sport. Just, like, that's strength and power. Like, they're the two.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to work at something, especially, like, young girls, get into lifting weights or get yourself a S&C coach who can get you strong and powerful, because if you've got that little bit of a head start, you know, it doesn't, you know, you can kind of catch the skill up later, because women's sport is such a development stage that if you've got a little bit of speed and power, strength and power under your belt already, you kind of leap years or light years ahead to everyone else. Well, there's a story east that Wace, one of a sprint athlete, I can't remember if she was a 400 metre or 200 metre runner, but she had an Achilles injury, and then to keep up her conditioning, they put her on a bike, just like an ergo bike, and you can test like your power and that sort of stuff on there. And the physiologist went up to her one day and was just like, how, like, what kind of wattage, like, what kind of power output you're getting on the bike? And she goes, spit out some number, like 1,200 watts, I think it was. That's pretty high. And he goes, oh, you're like, yeah, that's actually, you know, pretty good, like, numbers, like, considering, like, you know, you're not really a bike. Like, you don't really ever train on a bike, like, you're just a runner. And then he was like, oh, we'll get you, 'cause she was just doing it in runners, and they gave her, like, actually got her, like, proper cycling shoes, put her in the clips, and then took her through an actual, like, ergo test. And then he was like, these numbers are, like, elite.
Like stupid numbers.
No, not just, like, stupid good. These are, like, numbers you can get into the Olympics team with, right? So this was a sprint athlete who was also completing a PhD at Waste, through Waste. And then he sent these numbers off to Cycling Australia. And then he was like, and then they ended up 2 days later, they called her back and they were like, we've got a spot for you on our Olympic cycling team. And then now,
that's insane.
And she's never ridden a bike before. Supposedly there's this, in terms of, like, you do I'm not sure on the actual event, but do it in, like, a relay or, like, a 4-person team. And there was one spot that they needed her for, and because she can put these amazing sprint power numbers out, that she's perfect for this little burst of speed that they need, like, for this shorter. Yeah, so now she's gone from being like a state level sprinter to now an Australian level cyclist, and that's all because she has this you know, amazing strength and power.
That's insane.
You know, also there's another Tia Toomey as well. She's a multiple time CrossFit Games winner, world champion, also Commonwealth Game weightlifting gold medalist, competed in the Rio Olympics, and now she's going for the winter. She's going to compete in bobsled in the 2022. I think I'm not sure where in China, but it's in China they're doing the winter. Yeah. So she's competing in that as well.
That's so random.
Yeah. But it's because, like, you know, female sport, you know, if you've got that base of strength and power, you can kind of almost learn. You can learn the skill.
Yeah.
But you've got that little base behind you.
I wish we learnt more about strength and conditioning earlier on, like when I was younger. Even in school, like, I wish we knew the benefits of all of this stuff. Like, like, every now and then it would be like, we're doing a beep test. And it's like, okay, but why are we doing a beep test? Like, it's so random. Like, it never really did anything. Yeah. And, like, looking back now, like, I'm not the fittest of people, but God, like, when I do, like, a pre-season, like, I bet my 2K by 20 seconds. To me, that's huge.
That's huge.
Like, I was so happy, but that was just from me being like, all right, well, let's just see what I can do.
Yeah, push yourself.
Whereas, like, in school and even in, like, youthies, it wasn't really, it was just like, oh, what do you need fitness for? Except for, like, a cross country. And that's it. Like, that's literally it.
Cross country.
Oh, filth. Absolute filth.
Yuck.
But, like, that's what I mean. Like, I wish it was talked about more in school, even, like...
Well, American...
Now it is in, like, at East Fur, it definitely is. But, like, back then, 6-7 years ago, it was never even, like, really thought of.
That's a funding thing from the government. Well, that's what, like, American high schools and stuff, because they get really they get lots of funding from stakeholders and stuff for their team, like high school teams, to be really good, that they invest money into like your strength and conditioning, because most of those sports like NFL, and that's like if they're a sprint college, you're going to need S&C coaches as well. So that's where look compared to Australian high school sports and university sports compared to American, and you see the massive difference. And even